looks for the long ball, left-footed. Moser climbing all over Hatley, but Hatley keeps possession, takes it on his chest. Turns, plays a sweet ball out to John Barnes on the left side. Comes inside Leandro. He could let one go here. He certainly could let one go. He keeps it on his right foot. He's gone all the way through. What a brilliant goal by John Barnes. That was quite magnificent. He threatened, he teased, he cajoled the defence. There were so many opportunities. You could probably hear the crowd applauding John Barnes of Watford. That is a magnificent way to open your scoring career for England.
A magnificent way indeed. Brazil 0, England 1. Barry Davis, the commentator. We're rejoining him, Trevor Brooking, and the voice you'll hear first, Brian Butler.
And welcome back to the American Hour, still buzzing with the excitement and the surprise of John Barnes' first goal for England. The goal of Brazilian quality in Brazil, but scored by an Englishman. Barnes, only the third England player to have scored here in the world's biggest stadium. The others, well, men of some pedigree, Jimmy Greaves and Colin Bell. But Brazil, of course, never ever accept defeat in their own stadium, and England can now expect a backlash. Trevor Brooking, I think we'll see exactly what this Brazilian side is made of.
That's right. I mean, they've really got to pick themselves up. I'm sure in the dressing room there's been a lot of discussion, probably a lot of it heated. It was a super goal from John, and really the side has got better and better in the first half. I think the main problem comes from the right winger, Ronaldo. I think Kenny Sansom has played very well. He's got a lot of tricks, sometimes a bit over-elaborates, and sort of Ken's very sharp in attack on him, and he's once or twice has managed to get a second bite at the cherry. But overall, I think the lads really must be delighted sitting in the dressing room, and hopefully, I mean, we've also mentioned the two wingers. I think we should give a lot of credit to Mark Hatley as well. I think he's got better as the game gone on, and in fact, he held the ball up well and gave the ball to John Barnes when in fact he went through to score.
Turns it back to Sansom. Sansom inside to Robson. Robson a little ball forward to Woodcock. Woodcock under pressure from behind there, so he lays it back to Sansom. Nice, contented, positive, short play on this near side of the field. And in the end, Barnes back to Sansom, and Sansom whacks it inside, looking for the tall figure of Hatley. But a little ambitious that one, perhaps. The Brazilians get it away up towards the halfway line. Now it's the turn of Tato, the number 11, playing in a central position at the moment. Tucks it into Junior. Junior won't be looking to waste the ball. Sizes up his options. Likes the look of Leandro, the right back. Turns a long, curly ball towards him. He controls it. Now to Renato. Renato, white socks around his ankles. Sansom in front of him. Times his tackle beautifully. Pounces with that tackle. Slides it in. Wins the ball. Gives it to Barnes. Barnes picks up pace. This is the danger man now for the Brazilians. As soon as he picks up possession, a couple of Brazilians look interested. They try to close him down. But now it's Leandro just easing the ball inside to a Zenon. And a long ball sprayed away to that far side of the field. This is dangerous. Assis, little ball forward. Tato switching wide again. Left edge of the England penalty area. Tato turns and moves and comes away from a couple of English defenders and gets it back now to Assis. Oh, and again the Brazilians must read it. Two players not on the same wavelength. And now it's Hatley for England, combining with Woodcock. Woodcock, 7 or 8 yards inside the Brazilian half. Now he'll bring Chamberlain to it. Far side of the field. Chamberlain tall, checks. And he eases the ball away to that far side of the field to Woodcock. Woodcock under a little bit of pressure, has to turn it back to Duxbury, the right back. Long ball forward from Duxbury. But now Brazil have it inside their own half. They try to break, far side, their left. The ball with Tato, the left back. Going well, gets inside one tackle, but again coming across so quickly there. Good thumping tackle. Ray Wilkins doing well. And he eases himself away from trouble, and the ball back into the hands of Peter Shilton, defending the England goal away to our right. And Peter Shilton will look up and then just roll the ball away to his left, and he'll get it back from Fenwick. Fenwick back to Shilton. Shilton right-footed, right to left, up into the Maracana. Floodlights, far side of the field. Chamberlain goes up, doesn't quite make contact, but the ball runs nicely for England. Robson, far side, coming through on an inside right channel. Wanders still further away to that near side, gives the ball to Woodcock. He's pressured off the ball, and Brazil looking to come back into it on the break. The ball with Zenon in midfield. Small, perky little player. Drifting wide, and now a good ball through to the tall figure of Moser, who'd come up, but Moser not quite making contact. England getting it away, but still Renato for Brazil. Now to Leandro, back to Moser. Near side of the field. Now Renato picking up pace. Right side of the English penalty area. But good work by Sansom. Gets his body between Renato and the ball. Renato looking frustrated. Can't do anything about it. And the small, stocky figure of Sansom inside him just eases the ball safely, quite safely, back into the hands of Peter Shilton.
Did very well again there, Ken. About 2 or 3 occasions, they've obviously decided to try and see if they can get Ronaldo more into the game, but Kenny's played him ever so well. At 2 or 3 occasions, timed his tackle perfectly, and it's just really what Ronaldo doesn't want, because you can see his chin going down already.
Another little moment of danger, the ball floating across there. Sansom again gets it away, but not very far. It's now Pirif, just outside the English penalty area. He's brought down there by Robson. Has the whistle gone? Yes, it has. Pirif looks up from the floor, looks appealingly, and then gratefully at the referee, Juan Cardelino of Uruguay, as he gives the free kick. The free kick to Brazil, in a position of real danger for England. This no more than 5 or 6 yards outside the English penalty area. England now, every man of them, a row of 10, a white wall in front of Peter Shilton. He shouts, arranges the ball, gets him absolutely right. 2, 3 Brazilians standing over the ball now. I think it may well be Zenon, the man who's looking least interested, perhaps who hits it. But it's going to be, no it isn't, the ball floats in, whacked in there in the end by the tall figure of Roberto, but straight into the pit of the stomach of Peter Shilton. Meat and drink for him, gets both hands to the ball, settles down, gives the ball away, gets it back. And again, Brazil always rather dangerous at the set pieces that near.
That's right, it was in a dangerous position in the middle of the goal, and in fact I think there's about 3 or 4 of them who can hit them from that particular range. It was Roberto on that occasion, and quite frankly he hit it in the middle of the goal, and they certainly won't worry Peter from there.
It's Chamberlain trying to work things out for England, but failing to do so, sitting on the ball just a little bit too long. The ball turned away, back now to Sansom from just outside his own penalty area. He'll roll the white ball back into it, the ball bobbling all over the place. It's a very uneven grass here, and underneath the ground too. One had a look at it the other day. Very bumpy and bobbly, and really almost any pass moves very unevenly over its surface. The ball with Shilton, right-footed, right to left here in the Maracanã Stadium. 5 minutes gone in the second half. England still leading by 1-0. The ball with Barnes, the man who put England ahead just a minute before half-time. Beats one man as if he didn't exist. Goes outside another. He's brought down there by Moza. And that is going to be a free kick, this time to England. And this time no more than 3 or 4 yards outside the Brazilian penalty area. Well, a moment ago we saw Brazil having a free kick just outside the England penalty area. And now in very nearly the same position, it's a free kick to England. Standing over the ball, well, Robson. There too is Terry Fenwick. And also there is the figure of Ray Wilkins. And Brazil, again, all 10 men facing the ball. And it's Robson who clips it with his left foot, looking for the far post. Hatley's there, gets ahead to it. Whistle's already gone. He was offside. And that's going to be from a rather promising position, rather disappointingly, a goal kick or maybe a free kick to Brazil.
It was interesting to see the difference between the two sides. I mean, I'm sure the Brazilians would have tried a direct shot at goal from there, whereas we always look for the clip and hopefully trying to get to either Dave Watson or Mark Hatley with a header. But certainly, Leandro, the right back, had an injury doubt before the game, and I should think after the way John Barnes went past him, then he's wishing that he was injured and hadn't made the game, Brian.
6.5 minutes into the second half here in the Maracanã Stadium. Brazil 0, England 1, but Brazil in possession. The ball near side of the field with Leandro. Leandro checks, turns the ball inside. Now it's Roberto, tall man, a lot of pace, but again, good work by Sansom, matches him pace for pace, and turns the ball, stops it going out for a corner, turns the ball out on this near side of the field. It's going to be a throw-in to Brazil, taken by Renato. Back now to Zenon. Zenon checks, turns it inside to Junior. Brazil up there, a lot of men forward inside the English half. But again, good work, good defensive work this time by Robson. And this time he finds Hatley, and off goes Hatley like a giraffe on the rampage. Turns inside one man. Finally tries to go outside Moser. Down goes Moser, and it's going to be a free kick. This time to England, would you believe? A little surprising, that one. Trevor.
Well, Moser went down, but in fact he did body check Mark Hatley. I mean, they were caught very short of the back. It just shows their anxiety, actually. Tony Woodcock and Mark Hatley for a while had Moser 2 against 1, and he just had to body check Mark. And now we've got a free kick in a similar position to the one we had just now. I'm sure this time, though, we might end up with a shot.
In fact, it's right on the 18-yard line itself. Again, Wilkins is over it, suggesting that one of the Brazilian players goes back 10 feet, never mind about 10 yards. Brazilians they stand back, they face the ball. Robson is there, so too is Wilkins, so too is Fenwick. And it's Fenwick, in fact, who curls it in, right-footed, and that ball just dipping and just clipping the top of the Brazilian crossbar. That was much better there, Trevor.
That was a super free kick. In fact, I must say, it looks as if he's shaped to clip it into the middle, because in fact he only took one step into it. He clipped it over the wall that they've got across, and it just pricked the top of the crossbar. And quite frankly, I don't think the goalkeeper would have got there if it had been underneath the bar.
So Fenwick of Queen's Park Rangers coming up and making good use of that right foot then. Of course, a very, very good penalty taker indeed. England, again, under pressure though, far side of the field. They have people back facing. Good work on that far side. The ball turned in now. Pires is there. Can't get the ball in. The ball runs out of play, and it's going to be a corner. A corner that'll be taken by Tato on the far side of the field. No, he leaves it, and he leaves it to Junior. Junior, the shorter, darker man, moves up, places the ball carefully. England now, 9 men as well as Peter Shilton inside their own penalty area. Junior takes it, a long, booming ball away to the far post. Rising high as Assis, doesn't make contact. Moser tries a shot, half beaten away by the English defence. The ball in the air. Chamberlain underneath it. So too is Barnes. Chamberlain in the end not making contact away on the far side, and it's going to be Brazil, who's still inside the English half. Push forward again. Leandro, the right back. Now to Roberto, right edge of the English penalty area. He's got Robson in front of him. Goes outside him, but a little overlap there by Leandro. Very short and very quick. Too quick, and he's just offside. But again, nice variation on the right. Again, the Brazilians looking quite threatening this side of the field. They're right.
Yes, I mean, their left side really has been almost non-existent. Junior hasn't got forward much, and the left winger Tato has been well marked by Mike Duxbury. And really, Ronaldo is the box of tricks, but really Kenny Sansom's playing him extremely well. Leandro is trying to get up to support him, but he's got his work cut out looking after John Barnes. And really, at the moment, the lads have picked up exactly where they started in the first half and looking very confident.
Brazil trailing by 1-0 here in the Maracanã Stadium. The goal scored by John Barnes just a minute before half-time. We're now 10 minutes into the second half. Brazil, 3 times world champions. They're down to England, who've never won here. They're down to England 10 minutes into the second half, but it's Brazil in possession, but only for a moment. Again, an unforced error. Now gives Hatley the ball. He's just inside the Brazilian half. Red socks down around his ankles. He's brought down, manages to push the ball onto Barnes. Barnes checks, turns inside. Wilkins is there in support. 10 yards inside the Brazilian half, and a good run there forward near side the left by Barnes. A little bit of space, quite a lot of time, but he doesn't make use of either dimension, and in the end his slicing centre drifts wide into the gloom behind the Brazilian goal.
Yeah, I think it was a victim of the pitch there, John. He went to put a deep cross in, and it just popped up, and really it was more a rugby one between the posts. But I mean, really, the lads are playing the ball around nicely. Again, Kenny Sansom got beyond John Barnes. It's given him a lot of options, and those 2 lads are working very well at the moment. I think it's the best game I've seen Kenny have for a long time. He's getting forward a lot more like he used to in his old Crystal Palace days.
Pires will turn just inside the England half, come towards the centre circle, and then bring Leandro, the right back, into the action again, who'll chest it down. Barnes does well. Leandro cheekily tries a little back heeler there, but Barnes was behind him, makes contact. The ball comes back to Sansom, and his clearance comes off a Brazilian defender. Leandro again to Robson. Robson 10 yards inside his own half. Robson, the English captain, forward to Wilkins. Wilkins a little touch on, and Wilkins now getting the ball from Hatley. Wilkins dangerously coming through towards the edge of the Brazilian penalty area, checks and turns, and Brazilian defenders get back in number, and in the end they whack it up towards the halfway line, far side of the field, and Tato will turn and have a little personal battle there with Duxbury, and it's still Brazil in possession. Zenon, 10 yards inside the England half, gives it away and gets it back, small dark, little moustache, a worrier, moves forward now, checks a little back heel, brings Pires into it. Pires slopes it away to the far side of the field, still Brazil pushing forward. 6, 7, that's 7 passes they strung together. Now 8, they'll take their time. And again, this more positively, a ball forward to Roberto. Pires comes through, checks an English clearance, and now on that far side of the field. Tato does well, gets the centre in. Watson forces it away, but not very far. And it's still this pressure, the incessant pressure coming in. A long, raking centre coming in from the far side of the field. Roberto was there, with the ball breaking off another Brazilian, and Chopin turns, scrambles, picks it up, and now has good possession and clears right to left to Woodcock, 15 yards inside the Brazilian half. He sits down with a bump, and Brazil have possession. The challenge, quite legal. And again, Barnes doing good work there. A little ball from Zenon. Inside, that might have been dangerous. Barnes hopefully just sticking out a leg, making good contact, and the ball is able to be run back to Shilton by England. And England have possession. Wilkins untypically allowing himself to be caught in possession there, but again, good work by Terry Fenwick, shepherding and shielding the ball and allowing it to run back once again to Shilton. And we're now 13 minutes into the second half here in the Maracana. And England still lead by 1-0. John Barnes the scorer a few seconds before half-time. But now Brazil in possession, looking to come back. They lose it. It's the turn of Chamberlain. Chamberlain short, positively, forward to Woodcock. The first touch is bad. Brazil have possession. Pires now, right on the halfway line. Brazil in the yellow and blue, that's those famous colours, moving from left to right. Pires pushing the ball forward. Opportunities now for Renato. Tries a shot with his left foot, turns it inside. And Renato, with a golden chance there, hesitated just a moment before making contact with his left foot. He hit it cleanly enough in the end, but the opportunity had gone, and that was Peter Shilton's ball all the way.
Yes, it was again they tried to play Renato in. Kenny was a bit unlucky. He had a yard on him. It just got trapped in his feet and rebounded back into Renato's stride. He turned inside and in fact opened up his angle, but Pete Shilton did exceptionally well, kept his feet, didn't commit himself. And in fact, the low shot then Peter comfortably saved. But, you know, really the Brazilian goalkeeper, you can make the comparison, went to the first dummy of John Barnes. And in fact, John then stroked it into an empty net, whereas Peter stood up and really made it difficult for the forward.
And Junior setting Brazil off again to Zenon. Outside of his right foot, arrogantly away to the far side. And Brazil are midway inside the England half. The ball with Tato. Left edge of the English penalty area, turns it back. Now even Ricardo, one of the tall central defenders, is up in the action to Junior. Junior, a positive ball forward that Roberto will chase near side of the field, but the ball again picking up pace. The weight of it not quite right, the pass. And again it's Shilton's ball. Only one member of this Brazilian side played at Wembley 3 years ago. That's when they last met, of course. That's the left back, Junior. And of the England side, Robson, Sansom and Wilkins were all playing that day. Brazil, remember, winning with a goal by Zico, who just happens to be the younger brother of the new Brazilian manager, Edu. And again, the tall figure of Dave Watson, winning his first cap for England, tidying up at the back and easing the ball back into the hands of Shilton. And Shilton now with a long clearance against what little wind there is. The flag's in front of us, the Brazilian flag and the Union Jack flapping just a little bit, not too much wind, gets a little bit of length. The ball midway inside the Brazilian half. But again, it's Pires, tall, slim figure, but not a particularly good pass this time, and England have possession, working the ball on that far flank. A ball forward now by Wilkins, right edge of the area, centre comes in, intercepted there by Ricardo, doesn't get it away, flicked on there by Tato, the ball midway inside the Brazilian half still, and the whistle's gone, and that's going to be a free kick to Brazil midway inside their own half.
Well, at the moment we're enjoying a good share of the play, Brian, and it's a really good all-round team performance. We haven't mentioned Dave Watson in his debut and Terry Fenwick at the back. They've quietly gone around their job, doing a good solid job at the back. And then in midfield, Ray Wilkins and Brian Robson getting in some telling tackles, which, you know, Ray in particular is not renowned for his defensive side, but they're both doing a very good job there. With the 4-2-4 system, they realise those sort of things they've got to done. Ray Wilkins just intercepting one there as well.
Good defensive work by him there.
That's right. And all round the team's looking very nicely balanced.
And again, Sansom coming back, combining nicely this time with Robson, pushes it forward to Wilkins, who's taking up a super position, tight on this near line. Easy for Sansom to find him. Wilkins now to Robson. And Robson sets off a gallop on this near side of the field. Again, perhaps the ball bobbled a little bit because the way he let that ball run away from him, not typical of the Manchester United man. But the ball breaks nicely for England now, but again the whistle's gone. And it's going to be a free kick to Brazil. And, well, they say football's a funny game. It's not meant to be, of course, but wouldn't it be odd and against the odds if England, having been beaten by Russia and Wales and France earlier in the year, now begin to put a little colour back into the cheeks by winning their first ever game here against Brazil in the Maracanã Stadium. England lead by 1-0. John Barnes the scorer. With 17 minutes into the second half, England holding up their end well, but under the whip, Tato, the left winger for Brazil, wheeling along that far side of the field, but Duxbury sticking with him and putting the ball out of play. It's a throw-in to Brazil. Midway inside the English half, far side. That's the Brazilian left. The ball still midway inside the English half with Zenon. Zenon checks, comes outside. It's dangerous space here. Checks, turns, looking this time for a little back heel. But again, too many white shirts there, too clever by half. And although Renato waited for the ball to be funneled through to him, and he was in a good position there, it stood no chance of reaching him. And the ball now with Peter Shilton. And Peter Shilton will take his time and he'll give the ball to Duxbury. And Duxbury will give it back to Shilton. And England lead by 1-0 in America now. And we're now 18 minutes gone in the second half. And it's a long ball from Fenwick up towards the halfway line. Intercepted there by Ricardo, but it's still England in possession. Sansom coming up into the action on the halfway line. Checks, brings Wilkins into it. Wilkins has to give a little skip to avoid something really rather nasty, but he doesn't avoid total injury there. Goes down, but manages to push the ball forward. And opportunities now for Barnes. Can he get his centre in? Oh, yes, he can. Good one to Hatley. And Hatley gets ahead. And Costa has not held it. And Hatley has scored. Mark Hatley of Portsmouth winning tonight his second cap. Just 22 years old. Has put the cap on this game, surely. A score confirmed by that marvellous scoreboard on the far side of the field. Brazil 0, Inglaterra 2. And right now the crowd, this enormous crowd, reacting to that goal with a mixture of boos and cheers. Hatley rising high at the far post, getting ahead to it. That's what he was included for, and that's exactly what he did. He struck the ball cleanly and with power, and Roberto Costa winning his first cap, and the Brazilian goal could not hold it. It's Maracanã, it's carnival time, but the party belongs to England. It's England 2, Brazil 0.
Well, a super time to score, thoroughly deserved. I mean, you know, England have played very well this second half. Always, in fact, looked at danger on the break. Tony Woodcock held it up, and John Barnes again got in a super far post cross. The goalkeeper clutched at thin air, and Mark Hatley is so devastating in those positions and put a super header in, and 2-0 at this stage. Well, I don't want to tempt Providence, but it's looking good at the moment, Brian.
Well, I wonder now, with 25 minutes left, whether even Brazil can do anything about this. Not one of the great Brazilian sides, a side that really in the last of their last 14 or 15 games have only won about a fifth of the matches, but a little opportunity in from that far side, and now because they make nothing of it, really cruel haunts of derision coming in from the crowd. The Brazilian crowd do not like it. Well, just in the same way, of course, that the Wembley crowd does not like seeing England beaten. And just 8 days ago, remember, the final scoreline at Wembley said England 0, Russia 2, and we've got a substitution. And the man coming off is Renato. And the man who's coming on is Rinaldo of Athletic Minerva from the town of Belo Horizonte, 500 miles to the northwest of here. 27 years old, coming on for his 28th cap. And this is really a very talented player indeed. A man who's been troubled by injuries, but a man with enormous skill. And Brazil have the ball just outside the English penalty area. And almost immediately there we saw Ronaldo with a little shimmy and a shift trying to get through. Got by one man, didn't get past the second. England had possession. A long ball forward. Woodcock will chase. And away goes Woodcock. Opportunities for Woodcock. Puts the ball. Has he scored? No, he hasn't. Roberto Costa, come on. I think he made connection. And that ball wide of the Brazilian post. And that's going to... No, he didn't make connection. That's going to be a goal kick. Say the Brazilians. A goal kick to Brazil.
Well, that was really a great opportunity. We soaked up a bit of pressure, and Brian Robson hit a superb 50-yard ball over the top of Brazilian defence. And Tony Woodcock is usually so good in those positions. He was clean through, and I think possibly the pitch, Brian, just popped up, and in fact he was, in the end, well wide of the target. But really, the Brazilians, they had this slow build-up, and it's given the England lads just the opportunity to get back. And really, we're breaking so well at the moment that instead of Brazilian team looking as if they're going to get back into it, you can almost see us getting another goal.
And in fact, the Brazilians have now made another substitution. They've brought off Leandro of the champions Fluminense, and they've sent on Vladimir of the Corinthians, another left back. So they've merely substituted one left back for another. We'll discuss that with Trevor in a minute. I'm sure that's of some great degree of importance. Perhaps so, Leandro, indeed, he was injured, of course, one remembers now a little bit earlier on. The edge taken off his game. He was being given a little bit of a runaround, so perhaps one takes back what one said there. A perfectly wise and proper substitution. Vladimir, who's fit, coming on for Leandro, who obviously is not wholly fit. But England leading by 2-0 23 minutes gone into the second half. A marvellous last quarter of the game it's going to be. England in the lead and in possession. Commentator Barry Davis.
And a game which marks Bobby Robson's 21st as manager of England. And are we going to have a suitable celebration of that fact? Really a fine team performance all round against the Brazilian side, which has been having its troubles recently since the last World Cup. They've only won 5 out of 14 matches, and of course there's no Zico, there's no Socrates, there's no Falcao, there's no Cerezo, or Batista indeed, or Eder. But even so, this is a basis from which Bobby Robson must feel he can build. And England have possession on the right side, and they've had opportunities to even increase on the 2 goals that they've scored. One by Barnes just before half-time, and then he made the second with a lovely cross which had the goalkeeper all over the place, and the header came in from Hatley. And it's Mark Chamberlain now trying to set up Brian Robson. 2 against 2 in the middle, comes out to Barnes again, whose shot gets a deflection which takes all the sting out of it, and it runs harmlessly to Roberto Costa, the Brazilian goalkeeper. Junior now has come to play right back with Vladimir of Corinthians on at left back. Ronaldo, really a far more talented footballer than the man he's replaced, Roberto, but so many problems with knee injuries. It's Roberto in possession now on the far side of the field, just outside the England 18-yard line. He cuts across, chips up a little ball looking for Renato. The flag goes up for offside, with an indication of the quality of little Ronaldo. He's very much shorter of stature and in physique generally than Roberto, but it was a lovely little chip, but Renato moved forward just too quickly. And Shilton takes the free kick. The ball is played back to him by Duxbury. It's in his big hands now, Peter Shilton, the Southampton goalkeeper, and he clears right-footed down, way down, halfway inside the Brazilian half. Nicely taken by Woodcock. Plays it back to Mark Chamberlain. Chamberlain on the right side, who hasn't been the hero in terms of scoring and making the opportunities, but certainly has contributed a great deal to this England side. In fact, I think when we look back on the match, he's won a corner there incidentally, which John Barnes will go over to take. When we look back on the match, it might well be said that his runs midway through the first half marked the turning point in England's fortunes. Anyway, it's John Barnes, the scorer of 1 goal, the provider of the second, who takes the corner with his left foot from the far side, drops it in by the near post where it's headed away by Vladimir. Comes down into Zenon, halfway inside his own half, looks up, tries to find Moser and does, because Ray Wilkins failed to cut it out, and Junior just keeps the ball in on the near side, halfway inside the England half, cuts inside, looking for someone to pass to, finds Zenon. Zenon plays it forward to Ronaldo, who tries to set up Tato, whose left foot shot is about a couple of yards wide, bisecting the line between the edge of the 6-yard box and Peter Shilton's left-hand post. But he was quite happy that it was going into the mass of photographers, and they're still mashed behind the England goal. There aren't too many at the Brazilian end, but it's the Brazilian end where 2 have been conceded. Peter Shilton with the goal kick. 27 minutes gone in the second half. Brazil 0, England 2. And that's a scoreline one could keep on saying and enjoy every time one says it. John Barnes plays it back to Kenny Sanson, who, as Trevor Brooking said, has shown much of his old style here this evening. Confident in defence. He's always been a good player coming forward. He's had to defend well tonight against Renato and has done it extremely well indeed. Shilton clears right-footed down the middle, and the long ball is catching Brazil a little bit as they have to push forward. They're sometimes leaving themselves bereft of numbers at the back. But that time, a free kick given against John Barnes. The kick quickly taken, the ball played out to the right side to the Brazilian captain for the night, Zenon. Socrates still in Brazil, but going to play for Fiorentina in Italy, and said that he feels that it's as well he doesn't play for the national side for a while. But he'll be back for the World Cup qualifying matches surely against Paraguay and Bolivia. The ball played back to Peter Shilton, and he takes his time. Clears right-footed. Deep into the opposition half again. A nice little header on by Mark Hatley. His dad would have enjoyed that. Tony Hatley, who was around a bit but never quite made it to the national side. Here's John Barnes, just on the edge of the Brazilian area. Plays it back to Robson. Robson gets it into the middle where he finds Mark Chamberlain, but Mark Chamberlain finds that the linesman's flag is up on the far side. The 2 linesmen from Brazil, the referee from Uruguay, where England go next, of course, to play the second match of this tour on Wednesday evening. Match that will be live on BBC television that night. And the ball played forward now on the Brazilian left. Tato cuts inside, has to come back to do so. Finds Moser. Moser looks up, finds Zenon. Junior making a run in from the right, but Zenon looks as though he was going to go for the shot, but he wasn't allowed to do so, and the free kick given against Brian Robson. I'm sure the England captain will feel that he played the ball first before the man fell, and I would agree with him. But as our West Ham and England colleague has said, the referee a little bit conscious that he's a Uruguayan refereeing in the Maracanã Stadium. The free kick to be taken by Junior. And he tries to get it over the wall, he does, but way over the crossbar. And it's a goal kick to England. And Peter Shilton takes his time before making his clearance, hasn't put the ball down yet. Does so at this moment. England looking so compact, looking a team, and certainly Bobby Robson has his basis to build on. England lost here in 1964 by 5-1. How very different it is tonight. 4 players then went on to play in the World Cup. I wonder how many of these will in our qualifying matches. You're right on the button. A quarter of an hour left, and England leading by 2-0, and a magnificent performance they're putting up against a rather tattered Brazilian side, to be truthful, but a fine goal by John Barnes, who really went for the heart of the defence and stole the hearts of the crowd by taking the ball all the way through to plant the ball past the goalkeeper for his first goal in international football. And then Mark Hatley with a fine header 90 minutes into the second half. The ball curled across by Barnes, and he headed in, giving the goalkeeper who'd lost his line no chance. And really, it was a magnificent goal. Both of them, England, after a torrid start. Peter Shilton made a brilliant first moment save from Renato, are fully deserving this 2-0 lead. And they have possession now on the left, but the free kick has been given, and England, meantime, have brought on a substitute and given a new cap to Clive Allen. Clive Allen becomes the 26th player to be capped by Bobby Robson, and he's come on in place of Tony Woodcock, who's done his job tonight, as indeed has every England player. The ball on the far side of the field, with Vladimir just crossing the halfway line. Plays the ball further down that left side to Tato. Tato cuts inside, looks to see what's on. Ronaldo hoping that he's going to get it in the inside right position, but it's further back, but he does get it. He comes to look for it. Turns, faces 2 players. Is blocked by Brian Robson. Brian Robson using strong physique to come away from his man. This could be promising for England. Mark Hatley in a line on the far post. But he plays it just short to Barnes. Barnes just inside. Clive Allen was hoping he was going to get a touch. He's waiting just on the 18-yard line. Robson plays it forward arrogantly, but John Barnes had moved into an offside position, so the attack comes to nothing, which is sad for England and particularly sad for Clive Allen, who, Trevor, is very anxious to get his first touch.
That's right. I mean, it's a nice time for Clive to come on. I know he was looking forward to getting the opportunity. I'm sure he'd be keen not only to get a touch, but under the circumstances, I'm sure he'd love to get a goal, Barry. But certainly the England lads now just being patient. It's really the Brazilians who have got to chase the game, and their crowd's getting frustrated, and at this stage they don't look like getting back into it, and the England lads are making them run around a little bit, which they're a bit reluctant to do. And at the moment, certainly the game is becoming a little bit quiet, which is good from England's point of view, because the Brazilians aren't lifting themselves at all.
And England have 12 minutes left to hold on or indeed increase their 2-0 lead, and they're certainly looking to increase it. Although at this moment the ball is played back to Peter Shilton. The crowd don't like that, but England, with a grip on the game, have no intention of taking one finger of pressure off Brazil. Ball cleared right-footed by Peter Shilton, up into the lights of the Maracanã, down just further on from the centre circle. Clive Allen looking to get hold of it. Allen of Queen's Park Rangers making it 2 from that club on the field, joining his club captain Terry Fenwick. Although we hear that Terry Fenwick won't be staying at Queen's Park Rangers, not to sign a new contract. The ball with Mark Chamberlain. Clive Allen sends it back to him on the far side of the area, right-hand side of the field as we look, or rather as England play. But Vladimir denies Chamberlain, plays it back inside. Forward to Ricardo. Ricardo puts it up to Assis. Assis crosses the centre circle, plays the ball slightly off balance, but it comes up to Renato, who, as ever, finds Kenny Sansom for company. And Sansom stays with him, and a corner is given, although Sansom thought the last touch of the ball came from Renato, but the Brazilian linesman says no, it came from you, Kenny Sansom. So a corner on the right side, taken short to Junior. Junior cuts inside John Barnes, looks across the ball with his left foot, but didn't look as he did so, and it goes away from the England 18-yard line, runs out on the far side to Duxbury. Duxbury takes on his man, who is Tato, and goes away from him. Cuts it inside to Wilkins, but Wilkins unable to keep control. It wasn't a terribly good pass, the truth be told, and the Brazilians are back in possession with Assis. Assis to Vladimir, plays it out to the left to Tato. 2 up against 3 defenders back, and one of those 3 defenders, Dave Watson, clears right-footed into touch on the far side, halfway inside the England half. And 1 or 2 in the crowd. The figure we've been given, 56,126, beginning to make their way out of the stadium in disappointment. The Brazilians, having had a bad run, having lost the South American Championship to Uruguay, and now surely to be beaten by England for the first time ever in this Maracanã Stadium. Away by Terry Fenwick. I'm sure 1 or 2 of you are putting fingers into mouths and saying, oh, why do commentators make that sort of observation? But I can only tell you that we're looking at 2 teams out on the park, and England at the moment are streets ahead of Brazil. Renato trying to get possession for the Brazilians on the far side, but he's having to do an awful lot of work on his own. Sometimes he's done too much when he's had good shooting positions, once in the first half and once in the second, but you can probably hear the whistles going up as England gain possession again. Look for Clive Allen, who tries to get away from his man, but Moser comes across to clear, and the ball is kept in play by Vladimir. Vladimir back to Piret. Piret forward just outside the centre circle to Zenon. Zenon tries to find Ronaldo in the inside left position, but it's a bad pass, and the ball is clipped back to Peter Shilton, who will certainly keep the side going to the end. He does like to have the clean sheets, as Peter Shilton, as indeed does any goalkeeper of worth. And to have one here in the home of Brazilian football will be a very happy memory for him indeed. He clears right-footed. Looks for Allen. Allen gets up well, but his marker got up slightly better. And Ray Wilkins placed the ball back from the centre circle all the way back to Peter Shilton, and England happy to keep possession. Ray Wilkins with his shirt outside his shorts. Don't though see any England players? Yes, I do. Mark Hatley is the only one with his socks around his ankles. Although, looking over on the far side, I see that Mark Chamberlain has joined him in that. The ball cleared by Duxbury. Duxbury on the far side, and the crowd are leaving the Maracanã in droves. And England are poised for a memorable victory. Before tonight, 1-9, drawn 6, lost 5 was Bobby Robson's record. And it will be said that this is not the best Brazilian side, and indeed it is not. But this is a basis from which England can build. Clive Allen in possession on the far side, clips the ball across looking for John Barnes, finds him. Barnes flicks it forward to Hatley, but the linesman has his flag up on the far side as Hatley's left foot shot goes no more than a ball's width past the far post. And I think, talking of Mark Hatley, Trevor, his dad and a few others can be proud of his performance tonight.
He's excellent. He's done it ever so well. In fact, since Paul Mariner, whenever he gets injured, we've always been missing out on a real centre forward, and certainly Mark's come into the side tonight. He's done exceptionally well. He's got better and better as the game's gone on, and really the balance of him and Tony Woodcock earlier and now Clive Allen looks very good with the 2 wide lads.
Assis, outside the area, plays the ball off the outside of his left foot, looking for Tato. The Brazilians have 4 in the box, and Mark Chamberlain is back for England to cover. Finds Duxbury. Duxbury able to dwell on the ball, threatens to play it back to the goalkeeper, fools his man, plays it down the line instead. where Clive Allen surely was tackled from behind. Yes, the referee has given it a free kick some 10 or 12 yards outside the England penalty area on the far side of the field. And Peter Shilton strolls and then just jigs a little bit to play the ball forward to Duxbury. Duxbury thinks about playing it back to him, but then notices that Ronaldo is between him and his goalkeeper. So instead replaces the ball and prepares to clear it right foot downfield. And to nobody in particular. That's one of the worst free kicks of the evening. So it comes to Brazil again in the centre circle with Assis to Junior. Junior, as he likes to do, cuts inside, but this time from the right back position where he's been playing ever since Vladimir came on. It's down to Assis on the right side, back inside to Junior. Junior plays it across, and Mark Chamberlain, I think, can collect it. But he's dispossessed, and Ronaldo on the edge of the area. England got to keep their concentration. Here's Junior with a right foot shot, but it was of powder puff proportions, and no trouble at all to Peter Shilton, who was down and held comfortably to the ball. But when one looks back at the match, how important was his save in the opening minute, when Renato really, for a player of his quality, should have scored. He had so much time, so much room, but Shilton stood tall in front of him and said, "Go on, beat me," and he could not do that. England now have a free kick 10 yards into the opposition half. 5 minutes left. 2-0 to England. That's a good turn, but the linesman's flag up. A little under 5 minutes, in fact. The goal scorers, as you said, Barnes and Hatley, and that is still the score. 4 minutes now left on the clock, and it really was a magnificent goal by Barnes. He ran at the heart of the defence, and they waited for him to shoot, and in the end, he arrogantly walked the ball in. And then, in the 19th minute of the second half, it was his cross which Hatley met at the far post and gave the goalkeeper no chance. It's not the best Brazilian side that we've seen, but in Robson's 21st international, Brian Robson has the opportunity to make it 3-0, which he just fails to do, the England captain. But in Bobby Robson's 21st international, it's a celebration evening here, and certainly at last a basis for the England manager to work on. 2-0 with 3.5 minutes remaining. Well, it was a fine opportunity for Brian Robson, and it was only about a foot wide of the post. It was a good effort there, Trevor.
That's right, actually. Brian intercepted it superbly midfield. He played a 1-2 with Clive Allen, and actually Brian was clean through, and he shaped to hit it hard and just clipped it, and in fact just pulled it wide of the far post. Really, I felt sorry for him, because it was a great run, and really he'd done all the hard work and then just missed at putting the ball in the net. And really, 3-0, I think, in fact, in this half, would have really summed up what the scoreline should have been, actually, Barry.
The ball headed out of the England area by Terry Fenwick. Collected by Pires. Lovely turn by Robson, but his pass was just a little bit too far away from Hatley, but the ricochet's favouring them. But it now comes down to Renato on the near side of the area as we look. But he can't get past Terry Fenwick, who really has looked an international player tonight. Grown in confidence, as indeed has the whole England side. After a pretty torrid opening when things could have gone wrong for them, but thanks in the main to Peter Shilton did not. And Brazil have a throw-in 15 yards into the England half on the near side of the field, to be taken by the tall Moser, 23-year-old from Flamengo. Plays it down to Pires at 29 from Vasco da Gama. But there haven't been too many Brazilian players who've made names for themselves this evening. Here's Ronaldo, but his little clip again is a little bit too strong, and Kenny Sansom resists the pushing of Renato to play the ball back to Peter Shilton. Shilton in possession, tells Duxbury where to go, waves it to Duxbury. He wanted Duxbury obviously to take it a little bit out of the area, but Duxbury was not having any of that because Ronaldo was too close for comfort. Under 2 minutes remaining. Brazil 0, England 2, and a first victory surely assured for an England team in the Maracanã Stadium in Rio. Brian Robson in possession, plays it back to Kenny Sanson. Sanson down the line to Robson. Robson further down the line to Barnes. Barnes in possession, but he'd moved too soon, and the linesman's flag is up on the far side of the field. And I would think the players are beginning to really feel it out there. 78% humidity is quite common in Rio. The temperature has now dropped to 21 degrees. It's been a real test, and England have answered that test in great style. Ray Wilkins had his shirt almost pulled from his back, and a free kick is given down in front of us, just inside the touchline, halfway inside the England half. A mass of radio reporters and cameramen now take their position by the tunnels, and there will be many an inquest in the Brazilian dressing room, and outside it will take their players quite a long time to get into their dressing room, but there will be no inquest for England. This has been the best performance since Bobby Robson took over. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Take it you'd agree with that, Trevor?
That's right, and there's the final whistle. An absolutely superb result for the England lads. I'm very pleased for them, taking the real pressure off them, and really they got better and better as the game went on, and I'm sure there'll be a bit of celebrating tonight.
Well, they're certainly entitled to be. The final score then, Brazil 0, England 2. A goal to remember from John Barnes, a lovely run at the heart of the defence. He must have gone past about 6 players before walking the ball in. The second goal coming from Mark Hatley.